Welcome back, everyone. So this is going to be our final subcommittee report, which I understand Eric is...
We're actually having difficulties with the phone. I think folks trying to call in haven't been able to call in.
I see.
So I don't think Eric will be joining us by phone today.
Okay. All right. As we have previously mentioned, David Reed has stepped down from the FOIA Advisory Committee and from his co-chair role on the Proactive Disclosure Subcommittee. Eric is the other co-chair from the non-government member. In this regard, we need to fill David Reed's shoes. So I'm going around the room for a volunteer on the government, for one of the government members to see who would be willing to...
I'll volunteer to do it. This is Brent from DAA.
Wonderful, thank you so much. Also, in a phone conversation with Eric, he did want to add a few other questions to your questionnaire for the proactive disclosure. So if I could ask you, Brent, to contact Eric and see
All right, we'll do.
what questions you guys want to add, that would be great.
Yeah, just to follow up, I mean, I see this as an opportunity to kind of reboot the, this is Krista, reboot the Proactive Disclosure Committee. You know, this committee look into proactive disclosures is actually in the second U.S. Government National Action Plan, so I think it's very important that we step up our game on this front. OIP has issued some great guidance, so Melanie, I hope that you will, help out with this subcommittee and all of our government members. I think, it's a big challenge, and I think insight on the realities of what it is to, work for the government and to have resource restrictions and to have, requirements of the data that we're proactively trying to put out there. I think that would be very helpful. So if you are interested, please reach out to Eric, reach out to Brent. OGIS is happy to, convene a meeting of the subcommittee if that's so desired, but we see this as a new opportunity to reinvigorate our investigation of this issue, and we need your help. So please step up and...
I'll reach out to Eric and we'll try to convene a meeting of the subcommittee as soon as we can.
Thank you very much. Thank you. All right, so now we can just wrap up and turn to the public for any comments.
Can we hold up for a second? I don't know if, this is Krista again, but I don't know if anyone has any comments or anything, issues that we haven't thought of or considered, or aspects of the survey that we want to talk about, or if we're comfortable in knowing where we are now moving forward.
Anybody?
Final thoughts?
I have a thought. So I don't want to appear as if I didn't know about the structure or the bylaws of the charter of this committee or whatever, but I was under the impression that the FOIA Advisory Committee, one was to find ways to gather information and recommendations for improving FOIA,
Yes.
both inside the government and for the requester community, and that in 2 years' time, with and Nikki, you're doing an outstanding job as interim leader. But we're a year into this, and there's a vacancy in OGIS at the directorship.
Yes.
And it seems to me that the momentum is just starting in terms of coming up with ideas about how to come up with these recommendations. That it would be a shame if it came to an end, so abruptly. Particularly, since and I was always under the impression that we had 2-year terms, but that the whole thing would go on, which is sort of informed my thinking in terms of trying to push past these barriers at OMB to solicit information and data from the requester community, because you can get started, and maybe this group if our terms expire, may not see, may not get to the mountaintop, but, the next group that comes in, actually would. Anyway, I throw that out there into the universe, that I think that this committee is a really good idea, and that it would be a shame if it just came to an abrupt end.
This is Mark Zay. I think because Dolores and I are sitting next to each other, we must have been having a mental connection, because I was going to raise some issues about that as well, to sort of assess where we are at almost a year and halfway through our tenure. And I guess I'll throw out a few specific questions. I know the announcement was issued for the directorship. Maybe if we can get an update as to where that stands in the process. And two, what actually is the process if we wanted to, as an advisory committee, to recommend to extend the life of the committee? Because I have absolutely no idea of how that works.
Allow me to check, and I will definitely send an email to everyone, because
Yeah, we don't know, I think
not sure what,
the committee at this point, according to our charter, has a lifespan of 2 years. I think we see this as something that could be renewed, but like you said, we're happy
yeah.
to look into it. I don't, see this as something that will come to an abrupt end, because this is something that needs obviously a lot of work, and it takes time to do these things,
But allow us to check. I will definitely check.
Because I know one of the things, and Nate has been our real pusher on this from day one, to obviously have something of substance come out of this. And I think we talked at the first meeting, or maybe it was at one of our subcommittee meetings, about not waiting until the very end where we issue a report, that somewhere along the line we show, here's some substantive recommendations that we're already making as we go along. So we all lead very busy lives. I'm shocked that actually almost a year has already passed. And every time we have a subcommittee meeting, I realize, damn, I didn't do all of what I said I was going to do from the 3 months earlier. Where did the 3 months go? So I guess I suggest we all start thinking about what do we want to do in the next 3 to 6 months in particular. I know I definitely would vote to extend the life. Might even be a good thing to keep an advisory committee going, frankly, at all times, because FOIA is always developing as time goes by. So, and now the OGIS directorship, where we stand on that?
My understanding is they're looking at resumes, so.
Has the period closed for
yes,
collecting?
It has, yes, it
has.
closed on on March 13th. So that's all I know. I can find out. I can ask for status.
That'd be great.
Sure.
On the matter of lifespan of the committee, this is David Pritzker again. I believe there are two things that govern this. We're a committee of NARA, and so the impetus for doing something about renewal, if permitted, would have to come from them. All advisory committees that operate under the Federal Advisory Committee Act are chartered for 2 years.
That's right.
So in any event, even if NARA had authority to extend this, they'd still have to recharter it, going through GSA for that at the 2-year mark, presumably shortly before the 2-year mark. I would think the other issue is whether there is anything under the National Action Plan that limited it, and that's something I don't know about.
I don't.
No.
I think
if there's
no.
nothing that limits it, then it's basically up to the agency to decide whether it wants to renew it, and then they have to go through the 2-year chartering.
And I think the National Action Plan actually does have language about renewing it after 2 years, if necessary. But we can check. We can check with our Office of General Counsel as
Yeah,
well.
I do believe the charter itself has language.
It does have
about
language, yeah.
So
Which
we'll follow up with that.
We have, this is Mark Zaid. I don't know if we can, you want me to put you on the spot and ask you a question? Okay.
I don't know.
We were just, General Counsel Nara, Gary Stern, has entered our room. We were talking about what's the process, if it exists, of expanding the life of the advisory committee. do you know?
Short answer, not off the top of my head. I think whatever the creating entity
Yeah.
can expand it. This wasn't set up by statute. So-
National Action Plan.
Right, National Action Plans, essentially White House OMB, if they want to extend it. What's the timeline is 2 years?
2 years.
2 years.
That's great.
So we're like halfway in almost.
Right. So it would be to go back through that same process, I think.
But can it be extended so that everybody who's on goes for a year or whatever period of time, or does it have to be completely reconstituted?
I think there's lots of options there, but yeah, I would think they could do it that way, to keep the same body, just give them more time. That's pretty common with lots of commissions that just need more time, either by statute or by whoever's creating entity.
Great, thank you. Anyone else? Any other comments, questions?
Julie, Ruby calls on the phone.
Is there anyone on the phone?
Okay. All right. So now we can turn to everyone else in the room. Thank you all for those who have joined us. And we're eager to hear from all of you if you have any other comments or questions or for the record. Please identify yourself as well. Thank you.
Hi, Cindy Cafaro from Interior. I have a very small, hopefully practical suggestion for your questions about the survey, which is, it sounds like a very straightforward public liaison survey is going to be going out separately than the fee survey. With that in mind, I would suggest asking the public liaisons one more question, which is, who is the person you would go to for information about fees? And if that is the case, you can then have a one-stop shop. The answer may be, oh, it's me. Actually, I'm the expert on fees, or maybe something else. But doing that rather than going to each and every subcomponent's FOIA officer may be much more coherent and quicker for you in getting the responses and data you need while still getting hopefully the same amount of data. Going deep down into various layers could be confusing, I think, for everyone. Including the folks who are supposed to respond and may not fully understand, as people do at the other levels, what this committee is and its importance and the necessity of getting the information it needs.
Does anyone have any comments about? Everyone is nodding their heads. Okay. Anyone else?
I mean, if no one has anything else, I'm going to weigh in again. As your designated federal officer, which basically means I just email you a lot, bother you. We're 1 year in, and I'm going to ask that those of you on the committee, rededicate yourselves to the work of the committee, to the work of the subcommittees. If you've been hanging out on the sidelines, if you haven't involved yourself in the work of any of the subcommittees, I'm asking you right now to please get yourself involved with 1 or 2 subcommittees. We have a year to go. The Archivist of the United States appointed you to serve on this committee because you are experts in the FOIA. There are a lot of people who wanted to serve on the committee. It's an honor for you to be here and to sit at this table. So please take a look at yourselves and what you're bringing to the committee, and please rededicate yourself. We're all very passionate about the FOIA, and we need your voices to be heard in improving it. So thank you for being here, but we've all got a lot more work to do, and I look forward to working with you and supporting you so that we make that happen.
Here, here.
Thank you, Krista.
You're welcome.
Yes?
Good afternoon. My name is Wanda Williams, and I'm an archivist at the National Archives here in College Park. Regarding the survey, I wanted to recommend that you consider reaching out to public affairs persons, simply because in some cases they also deal with FOIA requests in addition to the public liaison.
Thank you so much. Comments? Questions?
But as Mark said, I guess the one thing on that would be very interesting to know if the public affairs folks and agencies actually know they have a public liaison for FOIA. So if they do get a question that they presumably would hopefully refer to the public liaison.
Not another survey.
That's right.
We're dedicated.
Okay, if we have no other questions, comments, I'd like to close by saying that we've all heard this committee has already been very active in its efforts to improve the FOIA through the efforts of the 3 subcommittees. We look forward to hearing updates on the committee's work, and we invite you to visit the website for more information about what we're doing and your participation. One final note is that all of you in this room will undergo the National Archives exit screening procedure before you leave the building. So for security purposes, all individuals' bags will be checked. This is just a routine check that everyone does, so don't get offended or upset. And thank you all again, and we'll meet at our next meeting, which is July 21st. We stand adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you.